Hello and welcome to Happy Hour again, coming to you today from the beautiful social distancing home studios located in Ventura and Camarillo, California.
Welcome back again to another happy hour again. I'm host Jason Hendrick with my co-host Joby and Curtis Taylor.
Hello.
We're coming into this week in this broadcast with a heavy bit of news and just kind of the weight of current events in the United States. And after much discussion with the three of us and thinking about the identity of our show, felt it was irresponsible and inappropriate not to at least acknowledge the state of affairs surrounding Mr. Floyd, and just some of the social commentary and social events surrounding his death and looting and race relations and a whole gravity of topics that honestly I think at this point is a little too deep for our platform. But again, acknowledging the fact that we're aware of tensions and conversations that must be had and thinking about how we can contribute to that conversation. So at this time, we're going to really table some of our own input, our own commentary. We're going to continue to talk as friends and colleagues and people close to each other about how this affects us and how it can translate to the show. But it would, again, we'd be remiss not to at least acknowledge that some of you are coming to us for some levity and for some outlet, some release, some distraction from some of those types of topics. But I would, if I can speak on behalf of the group, please feel free to jump in. But if we can just encourage all of our listeners to continue to have those tough conversations with each other, talk about how these types of interactions with diversity and tragedy impact your lives and what you can do to help make the world a little bit better in your community and how that translates and ripples outward. Our show is always focused as much as we can on diversity and uniqueness and creativity and having a little bit of fun at the same time. But tonight, again, I just think would be irresponsible for us not to at least acknowledge in the opening that times are tough.
Times are tough. That's very well said, Jason. I think you summed it up. Times are tough. Right before this, we were saying times are strange. So I think it's just a continuance of that. But yeah, I think you're right. I think we don't even have enough time on this podcast to talk about it. It's like an onion. I think is the best way to describe it. There's so many layers to get through. But yes, I texted both of you earlier and said, hey, is anybody else feeling like this? Is anyone else feeling sad? And I think that was the mood. So I think that we should at least address, right? That the fact that we're trying to get on with our daily lives, and I couldn't stay away from my phone. I was trying, and it's really unproductive, but it almost felt like I had to keep like checking what was happening. So for me, at least, it was that, and seeing all this happening essentially in our backyard. I know we're not in LA, but we're pretty damn close, and we all have family and friends in these areas. Partially why I wore my Mac and Cheetos shirt today for Long Beach, and I love going to Long Beach, and that's just one of the cities affected. So I won't go down the rabbit hole, but I think that was the biggest thing today, was just like, hey, is anybody else kind of feeling like, this is something that's affecting all of us? I think is fair to say, and in all different ways.
And I think, as a professor, as an artist who is supposed to be creative, and certainly I spent a big portion of my artistic life creating satirical and political commentary artworks. It's trying to process this is really hard. And when you sent out that message earlier today, Joby, and we're both on that same line, and Jason, I'm sure that you are there too. I just think about the people who have actual work that has to be done. Like, I can, to a certain extent, sit and kind of wallow and try and figure things out. Because my artwork can wait for the summer. If I take a day off today and try and figure things out, that's all right. But for the millions of other people in this country that are still trying to work and, having to be, I'm just thinking of first responders. I'm thinking of doctors. I'm thinking of all these people who have really important jobs. And then all of this is weighing down on top of them at the same time, that I can't even imagine trying to be an essential worker right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, I like the way you made that statement too, still trying to process. And I think that's largely why I feel unqualified to go into deeper conversations at this time. about kind of what's going on. I'm still working through my feelings and impact. And I have a dad who is in law enforcement for 36 years. I've got friends of color who could easily be affected in similar ways, in terms of how they are portrayed or perceived in the community. And so, my mind's all over the place. And what I know and what I feel is that what happened to Mr. Floyd is appalling for me. It's disgusting. Again, having a father or dad who is in law enforcement for a long time, trying to be on the side of right every time, every opportunity possible, and also serve his community in both a mentoring way and a safety way, but also having friends who, Black African-American friends who could easily have been in that position on the wrong day at an opportune moment. It's just a lot to deal with. I know that I will be reflecting and searching on how I can contribute to the solutions of better interpersonal interactions and what I can do to translate great messaging and friendships and, again, diversity and celebrating uniqueness with my son, who is turning 3 in July. And is like, what is this going to mean for him long term? And it's going to take many more than just this half an hour or this week or this show to get me to that place. And it's just going to be an ongoing process of quality, in-depth conversations with people like you, my great co-hosts here and my friends, to find out what are we doing to close the gap and to make people feel more included, more safe, and more celebrated.
Well, I think how it pertains to our show that we can kind of bring it back in is what you just said, is how can we celebrate? How can we are coming off of, I want to say 10 weeks. It might be 11. I don't even know, of not getting together, of not coming together, of not socializing. The term social distancing to me, I think it should have been changed to physical distancing, just because this social distancing made it very much sound like do not be social, right? And so
isolation, separation.
And so the three of us are pretty social. Jason, well, all of us have had social jobs at one time or another. And so I think that's kind of where I was a little bit at partially today, was just on that part. Like, we have been so antisocial, I guess is the only way to put it. And even the three of us, we've been on Zoom. We have not physically had our show, just to even bring it to that. But I think for 11, whatever it is, weeks now, and to then know now that we're continuing that, and we're continuing it in almost a different kind of way now. And I think that's how it pertains to our show, is like, when we can get back to that day when we can have these conversations like you're talking about, and sit down and have conversations that will have positive impact. Because there are tons of conversations that need to be had. There's also tons of action. So that's what, like you said, we won't get into the nuances, but I think just that, I think people were craving that. And I think the positive protests were a good sign of that, if you want to call them positive protests, of people just coming together, because we weren't allowed to be together for so long. And I know there's still a virus out there. Let's not forget about coronavirus. And
it's still waiting in the wings.
It's waiting in the wings. Yeah, it's just been pushed to the side, but it's still there. And but anyway, I guess as it pertains to us, our show is about having a drink and talking. And Jason, you asked about, hey, what would we talk about? I think we would definitely talk about this, but I think how would we talk about this if we were having a beer, which is how our show really is how are we talking? How are we getting together at the bar? And I mean, I guess you can now go and have a beer together and talk about it, but it's not quite the same. And in LA and these areas that were just about to start this, they can't do it now either. So the antisocial is back, I guess is the way to say it. I don't think social ever came, but it was ever okay, but we're right on the cusp, I feel like, of kind of breaking that in. I know that has nothing to do with race or anything that I'm just talking about right now, but coming together and socializing, I think, is super important to us as humans, and we haven't been allowed to do that.
Most definitely. And, based on the conversation I had with my buddy Terrell today, again, trying to search for some guidance and a different perspective from someone of color who has a totally different way to relate to this scenario than me. You know, he agreed that getting together and having these conversations is a first step. It's actually the minimal step that we can perform, is being able to voice to each other how we feel, what we see, when we feel, you know, actions are appropriate versus inappropriate. So to your point, Joby, of getting together, yes, this video interaction is a great alternative, but there's nothing that can substitute for being in front of someone face to face, in their energy, feeling what they're conveying, and subsequently turning that back around and saying, look, this is the heart of what my experience and my observations are. How do they overlap and where do they differ?
I think just to put on to piggyback off of that too is just the happy hour aspect of being able to talk and being able to get together to have those conversations, because even for us, where we're all good friends enough to where we can continue on these conversations. But just a moment ago, even in this virtual space, which is the best that we can do right now, is we can't pick up on the body cues, and so then there's, even between the three of us, there's still that sort of awkward pause, like, well, okay, is Jason done, or is Joby about ready to step in, or can I say something up over the top of them, you know? And so
That's
that
true.
just that compounds it. And I think it's just a good allegory for how we don't um we don't understand the perspectives of other people. And so we can't fully understand them. We can empathize and we can do our best to talk and try and not understand, but to try and comprehend what the situations are, or the personal perspectives. But you know, because we can't get together, we don't have that opportunity to catch the nuances. And something that Joby was talking about earlier is just to be able to look at each other in the face and feel the electricity off of another person, you know, being close enough proximity so that you can see that. And
Sure.
you know, we all have this pent up sort of anxiety, and because we haven't been outside of our family for, or you know, like close physical contact other than our families, it's weighing on people, you know.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think if I remember back to the fires, and we've had a couple of them, but definitely the Thomas fire, and thinking about how how we got through that and how we interacted with people, it was completely social and completely physical. And it was, um, I think that was a big difference. If I could just, I guess I'm going more coronavirus versus this, but meaning there was a tangible thing. People came in to either the restaurant or to any space. Actually, everything was just open and said, "Please come inside, have a seat, have a cup of coffee, whatever it is, have a beer." And seeing somebody have a beer that was had just lost their home or whatever, they just got evacuated from their home, and just that feeling of them being like, hey, there's other people here, and we're all sharing this moment, no matter how bad it is or how sad it is. We're all kind of sharing it together in this space and the community. So um the community, the sense of community, I think is very important, and I think that's something, I think that actually may come out stronger out of this, if I could say one small positive out of this whole thing, and out of the current situation, the current events that are unfolding. um I think that will actually come out stronger, and I think the sense of community and getting together, will be, people will yearn for it even more, and I think it'll be just that much more important. It's, um, like you said, Jason, the Zoom is cool and it's a good medium, but yes, there is nothing that can replace that. So um, I think, yeah, like I said, I think that would be positive. I don't know what else that I can say without getting way down the rabbit hole of what's going on and peeling back the layers. But I think it's great that we at least got to say something, because I do feel better for getting something off my chest. And um, yeah, there's no way we can ignore it. Like you said, it's the what did we call it? 800-pound pink elephant. Curtis said something else.
I think we ended up being 800-pound Elorilla, the elephant gorilla, depending on which direction you want to go. But it's.
And
I'm glad we did,
all
at least
kinds of
touch
other
on.
activities.
I wore my pink shirt in honor of the pink elephant, but honestly, I'm glad that we opened the show the way we did, because I know it was weighing on all three of us, and we didn't know what the appropriate messaging should be. But as a group of individuals who have people who could and have been impacted by, Mr. Floyd's, death, and just how these visions and these visuals and the messaging that's coming out, how bad it could be, has impacted us. It's like you said, Joby, at least getting something out and being able to say, my ears are open. I want to hear how I can be a part of the solution, and we can honor the people that are doing good for the community. We can honor, people that are trying to make a difference, and we can also admonish some of the people that are tearing us down. And those types of conversations will just be more vast and frequent as the days come. But we're going to have some cool stuff tonight too. We're going to really try to pivot back into our normal format of some levity and some deliciousness and some like sarcasm. We'll see how it goes, because that's where we like to be, and that's really about what we provide. We know that people are coming to us to break away from some of their drudgery of the daily life. That doesn't mean we have to keep a blind eye to anything else that's going on. But we got pastry chef Anastashia Chavez coming on, and she's going to talk to some of the treats that she provided to us. We got some fun stuff in the last call. I know I personally am going to get on Curtis and some of his technical issues as it relates to the SpaceX launch. So we got some stuff that I think you want to stick around for. I don't know about you guys, if you got anything on your mind that's.
We forgot. What are you guys drinking? We forgot our. We didn't forget. We just postponed it.
Yeah, we just postponed.
Jason went back to it.
Curtis, you go ahead. I've been flapping to the gums. Curtis, you're up.
I was gonna drink the classic you gave me, but I just picked up Firestone Luponic. I'm not sure what the number is, because I don't even know if they put a number anymore. But now, actually, it's by flavor. So this one says kiwi and lychee fruit, which is not really in it. It's the flavor that the hops give off, and it's pretty good. It's right on point. It's delicious. I did not get a glass. I'm going right out of the can because I was in a hurry.
There you go.
So, campfire style.
I think it's a good beer to have in that I shared with both of you today. I think, Jason, did you see it? The photo from Firestone Walker.
I did. That's old school. We're taking it way back.
We have to talk about that for just a few minutes. I mean,
we got a few minutes. We were delayed. We might as well take up a little time. We'll make sure Anastashia gets her full hour.
That was a great picture, first of all.
Yeah, picture Joby throwing cornhole there. And just to be upfront with everything, I was a total recipient of all the goodwill on that one, because there's the rule follower in me was so nervous about trying to sneak into this VIP thing. But I've got you two and everyone else that was just like walking in, so I just kind of right in the middle.
I may have had a few high octane beers that day. I think I was actually leading the pack at some point, getting us back into that zone.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. So when you did send that picture, I scrolled one more over, and I was driving the tractor, which is actually one of my favorite pictures. I have to print that out. It was like a 1920s. I don't even know what year that tractor was.
Yeah, you could walk faster than that.
I can't believe that guy let me drive that. I could have run over so many people in that VI, and it would have been very important.
I don't know though, Joby. It was kind of like that moment in Austin Powers with the steamroller, where like they could have been putting their arms 20 minutes. No.
Okay, and I just want to say, in my defense, I had a lot of beer that day, and I managed to drive that thing in an oval track. Now, it was going 1 mile an hour, but I did drive it, and I pulled levers. And my favorite part, though, was when the next guy came up. I don't know if you guys remember this.
I do.
And that guy was really inebriated, and he could not drive it.
Oh, he got yelled at.
I felt very proud
after that.
Yeah, because it had the two tires that are close to each other, and he turned those things completely sideways. And it's like, oh yeah, that was the end of the fun and games on that.
That was one of my proudest moments. I have to tell my kids that story one day.
Someone probably saw millions of dollars worth of restoration in front of them when that guy turned the wheel.
Yeah.
And I remember the other guy, the sort of guy that was piloting us around, that was walking, he got super pissed at the guy who was letting us drive. And I was like, Oh, now they're mad. This is hilarious. I've already driven around like 10 times. What felt like 10 times. But yes,
All
Curtis.
fun and games. So someone breaks the tractor wheel.
Right.
Curtis, somebody, when I was a kid, you have these like either friends. This was a friend of my dad, so I do remember. We always have either an uncle or a friend of a parent that gives you wisdom, words of wisdom that you don't really know what they mean yet.
Right.
So that man always said to me, if you just act like you're supposed to be there and you are confident and you walk like with purpose, you will 9 times out of 10, you will get into something. And I have lived by that since I finally figured out what it meant when I got a little older, and it's worked probably 90% of the time. And that was one time at Firestone. So, and if you guys remember, the next year we tried it again and we got shut down with Dr. Bill.
Right.
We were shut down hard.
Yeah, he was lobbying for us, and that one security guard. Remember, we almost got into a physical fight with that guy. George and I were like damn near coming to blows with him because he was so adamant. He was a stickler for the rules.
We were so confident that we were going to get everybody in again, and it was like.
And finally, but at that moment, we had also lost the mystique for us. We're like, all right, fine. Nothing behind the curtain is that, worthy of our presence at this point.
I know. No, I think the first one was the best one anyways. We got into it. There was a barbecue. There was beer in kegerator. I don't even, jockey boxes of beer.
Right.
Yeah. Brewers.
We'll never be able to duplicate that experience.
That's what I told Curtis today. I said, we'll never duplicate that. And I'm okay with that.
And you were actually throwing down and the tagline was throwing cornhole with the brewmaster from Golden Road back when.
Which is also funny. Golden Road wasn't invited to the Firestone Invitational.
Right. That's back before they were bought out. Right.
That's pre big money. So I love it. No, that was great. So I'm glad that my Firestone reminded you of that. But yes, that was a great festival. Because also popped up in mine was the trailer, which I think was a different.
I think that was the first year.
Yeah, I believe so. So right. the trailer with I don't know. We did it a couple times, and then
7 or 8 of us in a 35-foot trailer. Which
what could go wrong?
There's not enough feet in there.
That'll be a whole show in itself.
There is not enough vents and AC to take care of that.
We should do a Firestone throwback show, and just all of our crazy stories can be the content.
Oh man,
well,
that was great.
I thought it was interesting though too, because I had just there was something Firestone posted something on Facebook, and evidently I think it must have been this weekend that it was going to be
canceled. Yeah,
right.
It was supposed to be this last weekend.
And saying, "Hey, we miss you all." So I mean, it was all kind of coming full circle today.
So was that the year that you guys had to come straight back to do
there was
Pacifica?
Every year one.
There was one year there was no Costa Pacifica, but yes.
Right, because the one year that we lucked out, they were a week apart. Somehow they fell on opposite weekends, but every other weekend that we were tied to Costa Pacifica and the Yummies or the beer competition, it was like the next morning, Sunday, we had to haul ass down the hills. Not pleasant.
I know, but in retrospect, a weekend of festivaling is not terrible. Come on,
it could be worse.
Right?
Yeah, it could be
especially during coronavirus time. Looking back at that, you're like, oh, that was terrible. I had to go to 2 festivals in one weekend.
Right.
Especially Curtis, who gets to stumble home from Costa Pacifica.
Yeah, it would take me a while to wake up, but I would get to stumbling. That's for sure.
You have me choking on that one, Joby, because you're not wrong. Like given the current state of affairs, I'm like, ooh, we had a great time. I'd power through for Saturday, Sunday combo.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It was good. But yeah, that was, I think the when we snuck in, is it possible there was the 4 of us. I was with Andy, I believe.
Yep. Andy was living it up.
He snuck in with us, so it was great. But yeah, that was the second festival.
We ended up with some good beer connections for the restaurant after that.
We did. Everything came together nicely. Yeah, Andy. But I think that was the second fest because I didn't go to the first one. I don't think any of us went to the first one then. And that was when you can actually go online and get tickets. And then they started selling out in like negative, if that's even possible, negative time. Like you would go on the website and be like, sorry, sold out. You're like, how is that possible? But a great event. Both of them great events. Firestone Invitational and Costa Pacifica with wine, food, and beer festival.
Right.
right? Or no? I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's it. Right.
So what are you drinking, Curtis? We didn't even get to your drink.
I've got myself a Ventura Coast IPA. So I'm living large, local. I went outside my 4-mile radius.
I was gonna guess institution. I would have lost money tonight.
And then went 7 miles to Trader Joe's and picked up some VCPC. So I'm okay. I'm doing all right.
You're funny.
I really thought you were gonna go institution or Casa,
I do
Casa
have some.
Agria. Casa Agria.
You always got to bet on black, Joby. One time you bet on red doesn't change the status quo.
That's right. That's right. And Jason, what you got? Like a throwback.
Yeah, I went up to OBC, give George and the Ohio Beverage Company a little love. I picked up some Smog City IPA that I'm pretty confident used to be Luponic. I think they just took away, or sorry, not Hop Tonic.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Hop Tonic. I think they just dropped that portion and made the IPA their flagship. It tastes great. Last week, for some reason, I was super craving it. I went on their website. I was going to have them ship me some, and it required 24 bottles or something ridiculous. And so I went up and got some from George. I'm loving it. It also sparked my thought about, we can either talk about it in last call or we can get a whole nother show, but the concept of supporting / shopping local, because technically for us, Smog City is not a local beer, but I am supporting a local independent, beer shop and liquor store. And just had me really trying to wrap my brain around the concept when people put out the hashtag or the movement of support local. It's like, well, yeah, that may mean drinking a local made beverage, but it also can mean supporting, we were talking, just like we were talking about in the opening in terms of community and coming together. I could be supporting a local independent business. It doesn't have to be made in my town for me to be supporting a local cause and movement.
That's true. Well, if you look at Curtis, he shopped at Trader Joe's, but supported BCBC. So it was like he supported two different things at the same time. And I don't know, I would argue Smog City it's not local by any means, but it's Southern California.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's Torrance, right? It was Torrance.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Right?
So if you, everyone in the audience, if you want to debate that on our page, you want to throw up some remarks, we'd be happy to have that conversation and maybe bring it back for another show. What does local mean to you, and how far does that, circumference expand in your world?
Was there ever, I just remember at one time hearing something, and it may have been made up, but 30 miles, 15. First it was like 15 miles, then it's like 30 miles. And then think about Ventura. I know you say you want to say it. Think about Ventura. If you go a few miles north of Ventura, then there's nothing for 10, 15 miles. I mean, there's there's beach, coastline. So then you start up with, I think of Island, right? Island forever was kind of like the local brewery to Ventura, but it's in Carpinteria. And I don't know, I would consider them kind of local. That's a good question, Jason.
They're pretty local. We could ride there on a bicycle. I find that to be local.
There you go. If you can ride there, well, hold on. That's very broad because some people can ride 100 miles. So if you can get there on a bicycle, it's local.
If you can ride there on a bicycle without fancy,
how about there and back?
Look with spandex and crazy, gears.
If you can ride there and back in the same day, then you're good. That would be local. What's the most, Jason, you're a cyclist. What's the most someone should ride in a day? Could ride.
Oh, that's such a broad, arbitrary question. Me personally, so the couple times that I went a serious distance, I actually rode from Ventura to Goleta for work, and it took us almost 2 hours in the morning. We left at 6 a.m. to get up there in time to start work. Back when I was at the software company in Goleta, and then equal amount of time back. And I don't recommend that, honestly, for any type of regular riding. I'm more of a 20 to 50 mile, I think, depending on my mood, is about as far as I want to go round trip.
All right. Well, I think that is good. I think it's good to save for a trip. Because I also think about local food, like how far away is the food? How far away is your food grown to make it local? How far is your drink? That's good questions.
Well, our guest is giving me a yawn, saying, "Hey, she's been up since 4 a.m. this morning at the bakery. And when is she going on?"
Right, the baker's
so maybe to our conversation, maybe we do next. On the 8th, we've got an open slot. Maybe that's our local show next week. Maybe we come back and we talk about the food and beverage and how far we go and some favorite dishes. Curtis, you wanted to talk about favorite Corona foods and drinks right now. What the go-to is. Maybe next week is our time to come back for that.
I'm just thinking that if we are going to do a local show, that we should require IDs to proof of residency. So I'll leave it right there. We'll come back after the break with Anastashia Chavez and happy hour again.
Hi, I'm Anastashia, and you're listening to Happy Hour again.
Welcome back to Happy Hour. I need to fix
again.
Happy Hour again. I need to fix
Again.
one last audio tweak here before we go. Real tech speakers. Let's see if that
Do you
works.
frequently have to tweak your audio, Curtis?
I do have to tweak all kinds of things. So that's the benefits of watching us live, because you get to listen to whatever talk is in the background during the commercial breaks. Did any of you have a satellite dish way back before it was Dish Network, like the big 30-foot dishes?
I had a family member that had it, yes, and it moves. They had to move to follow
to pick up the satellite.
That's the only way we used to get HBO.
Yeah, Anastasia's like, what the hell are you guys talking about?
No.
The only dish I know comes with baked goods on it.
Oh, stop.
Well, so what you wouldn't know then is that if you didn't have one of those dishes, is that when you were watching network news, they would go to the breaks, but then you would still see them in the studio. And so they would have their conversations, whatever, because that's when the local breaks are happening.
Right,
and so I kind of feel like that's what was happening here just a moment ago, as I was struggling, one, to get the speakers turned on, or the audio turned on, and then to turn it back off when we went to break. That said, that was a big mouthful. Those of you who are listening right now,
that we're enjoying tonight.
Those of you who are listening right now, watching live, you'll definitely want to listen to the podcast, because Anastashia will be bringing us in on the breaks here and there with her own little breaks as we were talking the whole way through. We're here with Anastashia Chavez. Welcome to Happy Hour again.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Right, you are
welcome back. That's right.
You are no stranger to any of us, especially those two, Jason and Joby, with all of your work at Barrel House, OBC, 2686, all of those other places that had you working in close quarters, I guess, with these two, right?
As he says in Top Gun, the list is long but distinguished.
Very good. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, and for me, I've just been a big fan since the moment I met you at probably on the first, that was a happy hour, right? That you were posting some of the old photos of. Was that happy hour?
Yeah.
Or was that Pints and Pairings? I can't remember.
Yeah, no, I think that was Pints and Pairings. I thought they were the same thing.
Nope.
Oh. Well,
sometimes they are that way.
Yeah, they are now.
Well, I don't know. It was a Barrel House, and I think I was on it like a few times. I think one of them was a Pints and Pairings, because I know we did like a lot of like the beer dessert flight pairings for flight night.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are fantastic. It was the Firestone anniversary. All right. Well, I guess we should give some background. So Anastashia made small bite-sized versions of her desserts to pair with these Firestone beers that were exceptional. That was really fun. And I think you guys did do a Pints and Pairings. You did a Pints and Pairings and probably a happy hour the same time. And it was about the pairings with the beer. So
yeah, because we used to do all those like Thursday night flight night things. And I remember we did like Hangar 24 and like, all those kind of Smog City, I think we did.
It felt like you were one of the only people.
Yeah.
Puga Chef.
I was going to say, it felt like you were like one of the only people that was doing booze infused desserts. It was like on the front end of people really trying to incorporate beverage into their pastries and their baked goods. So, I felt like at least for our little sleepy circles, it was very innovative and, at the forefront of what's happening, what we see a lot nowadays.
Yeah, something different. It like makes, I don't know, I think it makes baking more exciting to add things that people aren't really doing. I don't know. Booze, there's just so many different kinds of booze, like spirits and beer, and I don't know, there's just like so many different flavor profiles and stuff, and they work really well with baking, which people don't really think about a lot.
Yeah. Now, Stash, when you started, you weren't, correct me if I'm wrong, were you not 21 yet when you were baking with alcohol? There's a really old picture of you. There's a really old picture.
So I first started working, I started in the kitchen at Wolf Creek
That's right.
restaurant and brewing company, and I was 20.
All right.
So
Fair enough.
yeah. So I guess
Did you
I
use the
was.
beer? Did you use beer at that time?
A little bit, no, but it really was when I was 21 because they had a Calabasas location, and I had turned 21, and that's when I kind of first started taking over at that place as their pastry chef and using. I don't know why I decided to use beer, but they entered me in that Costa Pacifica competition,
And
and
you
I was
won.
like, no, I don't know what I'm doing, and I had no idea what I was making. I made like a Dunkelweizen spice cake with toffee and like some beer caramel sauce.
Oh, I have a picture of that from back in the day.
By the way, your beer toffee, I was just gonna say, if nobody's had beer toffee, I don't even know if beer toffee is a thing or if you invented that, but that is really good.
I just subbed the liquid that I use in the toffee for the Dunkelweizen because I was like, I don't know, toffee's kind of like spicy and homey, and I don't know why I thought that would work. What is my cat doing? Sorry, my cat is chasing.
Did you win?
bunnies.
Did you win that Costa Pacifica? Did you win that first Costa Pacifica?
Yeah.
Well, Dunkelweizen is one of my favorite, I think, underrated beers. You know, there can be some clove spice with if depending on the yeast that's used, but especially with spice cakes. I love it with pumpkin, that holiday sort of kind of treat. Yeah. Oh, that's making me hungry right there.
Just like warm and fuzzy.
So, Anastasia, how did you get started as a pastry chef anyway? I mean, I see photos of you as a ballerina, and so I'm always curious, and I don't know if I've ever asked you what the
It's a really interesting pivot.
What
it is.
where that went. Right.
Well, so I was training for like my whole life. I danced, I guess, for semi-professionally, did ballet, and I was supposed to go to Cal State Long Beach and be in their dance department after high school. And I don't know, I got really injured. I had a bad accident at dance and fractured my skull and sprained my ankle, broke my toe, and so that I kind of had to stop dancing. And then I don't know, I started looking at food and recipes and stuff while I was bored, and I always watched the Food Network. I loved Alton Brown and everything. And when I was little, like when I'd be home sick, because I was always sick. And I don't know, I just loved it. Me and my best friend, when we were like 5, we'd be in this backyard and we'd make cookie. We live with like dirt and mud and stuff and have our own cooking show. And so I guess I've kind of always loved to do it, but just when I was 18, 19, I kind of realized, whoa, I want to do this. So I went to culinary school at LA Mission College for a little while and was just doing savory stuff, like learning, knife skills and all your techniques and everything. And then I got a job with a pastry chef at Wolf Creek Brewing Company out here in Santa Clarita. And I was like, whoa, baking, that's what I want to do. And it kind of just took off from there.
So what about, how did you get connected with Wolf Creek then?
At school, one of my teachers had recommended me and another student to go on this big catering for the Boys and Girls Club. And we were, just kind of staging with this restaurant called Salt Creek, which is out here as well. And Wolf Creek was there. So it was the two restaurants that were catering this huge, I think there was 2,000, 5,000 people there for this benefit. Mm-hmm. And the chef of Salt Creek really liked my work ethic and knew Megan from Wolf Creek and was like, hey, she's looking for a pastry or an assistant. She's really busy. I don't know if you guys want to meet. And so we ended up meeting each other, and it turned out that her and my mom used to do swing dance together when they were a couple years back, and it was just a small world. And so she kind of took me under her wing, and it was a good fit, and that's how it started. And then I left school.
Connection.
There's dancing all around.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Hence the potted.
I actually found the original dessert.
What?
Oh, nice. Wait, the original Wolf Creek dessert? Nice.
The dessert we were talking about, the winning dessert.
Oh, that's it. Oh, you were a judge, Jason.
Aha.
That's right. I was a judge for the
Yummies. Conspiracy.
So if you look at the description, it's got everything right there with the toffee and Abby double got the interesting little plating with the like.
I had no idea how to
Gotcha.
plate back then. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing.
Curtis, you could probably speak on the fact that the two layers are not in alignment. I'm not sure,
Okay,
architecturally how that
Wait,
works out.
hold on. In my defense for that plating, first of all, they told me, you're supposed to have like 2,000 pieces when you go to Casa Pacifica. But then they're like, oh, well, plating is a big thing for the judges. And, I'd never even worked on a line before. So I had no idea how to plate anything. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to just like spread caramel sauce on the plate. And oh no, the judges need more than just a little bite. So I put 2 bites on top of each other to offset them. And I was like, here you guys go.
Well, it worked out great because, again, I was a judge. I voted for it. And it was, again, the Wolf Creek Dunkelweissen brew layered with a burnt butter, spiced frosting, garnished with a beef coffee.
Wow.
Did the trick.
I think so.
Anastashia, a lot of people don't know that you're actually a really good savory chef as well. You mentioned that you got your start. What do you like better and why?
Oh, good question. Because people usually ask me like, what do I like to bake the best? But this is a better
I don't
question.
care about that.
Thanks. I love to cook, but it's just such a different atmosphere. Like, I mean, being on the line and being in a team is awesome because it's like you have that adrenaline rush and everything. But baking is more like, I don't know, it's more therapeutic. It's stressful in its own way. But I like that as a career choice because I know I can, there's a longevity in it, but with like my body and everything for cooking and health issues, unfortunately, I can't have that as my career. So it's fine. So I do it as a hobby.
The
So
baking
interesting.
The cooking is a hobby, baking is a career.
All right, got it. That's awesome.
But I love to cook.
But Joby, to what I'm hearing embedded in there, and Stash, what you're alluding to, at the risk of feeling like I'm picking on you or sounding like I'm picking on you, we used to always joke around about how many allergies you dealt with as a baker and as a cook. Because Joby and I used to be your taste testers, for most of your recipes because there were so many ingredients you had to avoid. How can you talk about that for a second? And can you explain to the audience how you navigate around, those allergens and yet still using such an extensive list of ingredients the way you do?
Yeah. Well, I'm like deathly allergic to nuts, tree nuts specifically. And then when I was a little bit younger, I was really lactose intolerant and all this just abundant amount of allergies. And so it really made, taste testing things that I'd create really hard. But I don't know, there's kind of like an artistic sense in baking, I think, or just in cooking in general. And for some reason that part of my brain just really like knowing flavors and stuff, it made sense to me. And so obviously I do use you guys to be like, okay, is this taste right? Is the textures correct or whatever? But I don't know, for some reason.
So in your head, the equation worked out, but you weren't able to finalize what was on the other side of the equal sign.
Yeah, because, in baking there's actually like a lot of science, like eggs and, sour cream, butter, whatever, they all have like acidity and, different kinds of fats, percentages and all that kind of stuff. And so once you know that and you know how those are going to work together, it makes it easy to be creative and, switch ingredients or try things even if you can't taste it.
Yeah, I think it's, I'm a big fan of yours. So Stash, if I may call you Stash, but
Stash,
I know we haven't even talked about that yet, but I think it speaks volumes to just raw talent, honestly, sheer talent that you have, because I think one of my favorite things ever to tell people was that they're like, oh my God, she made this, like, yeah, she's allergic to everything in this. And they're like, how did she know it was going to taste good? I'm like, that's how good she is. And I think that gave you even more street cred, I guess, if you want to call it.
Street cred, I like it.
It gave you even more cred because it was like, wow, she doesn't even taste it. I'm like, no, she's so good, she doesn't have to taste it. She can't taste it. It will kill her if she tastes it. Like, how can she cook it?
EpiPen now.
How can she cook it if she can't taste it? It was, and I think it's definitely a point of conversation and a point of, I mean, it sucks that you have these allergens. Don't get me wrong. I'm not glorifying your allergies, but we did used to kid around with you a lot about it because it was pretty much everything
Yeah.
under the sun. I mean,
Oh, I know. It's like, oh no, you're you're allergic to this
Yeah.
and this and this.
and then you
Like,
can't buy her any kind of food as a gift because like, oh, I'm allergic. It's like,
I can't eat it.
yeah, I'm sorry, but I think it speaks to the talent. So I just want to say that, and I think it's
Well, thank you.
definitely artistic and mathematic, and we all know that baking is super scientific, and hence why I'm not a good baker, but I like to cook. But I can see,
You
cooking
mentioned,
is
though,
so much
that-
more forgiving.
What?
Cooking
You
is so much
mentioned the
more
science
forgiving.
piece though, Stash, in terms of like
Yeah.
the acidity and the ingredients and how there is really an equation when it comes to baking. It's not a forgiving practice. You know, you make a
No.
little adjustment or a mistake, it's not forgiving. So how does the beer, how do the booze play into that? How do you what's the adjustment when you start adding in those types of ingredients?
I mean,
you
that
know,
is kind of a risk because you don't know what's gonna happen. Like usually I kind of, if a recipe like a cake or something has a liquid in it, like an orange juice or whatever, then that really makes sense to me to be like, oh, I'm gonna sub in an orange wheat ale and then add some extra orange zest or some extra citrus, like to enhance the flavor. But when you are using it in things like mousses or things that you're not baking it through, like an ice cream or a creme brulee or whatever, it's kind of a give or take because booze has different, and beer, they all have different alcohol volumes. They all have different kind of acidity levels. They use different hops, and some get really bitter when you bake them. Some get really just like pungent and disgusting, like you're drinking tar if you reduce it. So it's kind of a hit and miss. I don't know. You
What
have
kind
to.
of notes? What kind of
What?
notes? What kind of notes do you use or do you take while you're doing this process?
Just keep it in my head.
It's there. Okay.
I love it, Curtis.
Well,
It's
I feel like
here.
it's.
Chris and I are laughing because we've seen the madness.
Well, yeah, and I feel like earlier when you're talking about it reminds me of sort of a Matt Damon Good Will Hunting kind of thing, right? It's all there, and there's no need for this writing down of shit. Like it's
No, but I mean, I know Joby will attest to this. Like me, when I have to train somebody, like I'm training somebody right now at work, and luckily, like we have I work at Sweet Arlene's, and luckily, like all our recipes for our cupcakes and our our cakes that we do for events and stuff are all 100% written down, and there's not really a deviance from that. But when I'm training somebody on my recipes, it's really hard for me because it's all in my head, and I don't usually even use a timer when I bake. So I have to like step back and be like, okay, there is actually a process to this, and write things down and be like, why did I do this and how did I do this, to explain to somebody, because I can't, when I'm like 75, like I'd love to be baking, but I can't be working like 12-hour days when I'm 75. I have to hand things down and teach people what I'm doing. So
I don't know if there's something that I can keep up with that. I really don't.
I really love the fact too that you reference like baking at 75, because everything you're describing, I really am anti the phrase old soul, but everything you're talking about reminds me of my grandmother's baking. I remember being in that kitchen with her and going through things, and now I actually own her cookbooks because one Christmas, my family kept asking me, what do you want for Christmas? What do you want? And I couldn't think of anything. I finally just said, you know what? I want all the recipes from the family. Make a recipe book, and I want grandma's cookbooks. And so they bundled everything up really nice. But when I read through her list, it's just literally a punch list of ingredients. Sometimes it doesn't even have the amount. It doesn't tell you what to do with them. My mom wrote out her banana bread recipe, and it was just the ingredients that went in. It didn't tell you how to combine them, what order, and like.
we
I
have
called
some
her. I
for
said, Mom, what
my
the
great
hell is
grandma
this?
like
Is this
that.
a recipe? Yeah, she's like, what? I told you all the things you need to put in the bowl. I'm like, yes, but do I mix something ahead of time? Do I put the dry goods together? And she's like,
Yes.
just put it in the bowl and whip it.
The answer is yes. To
Yes.
everything. Yeah. The answer is yes, for sure.
Do you work in those like those buzzwords too, like dash and splidge and shake of? Like my grandmother had all these interesting terms that made the
No,
equivalent
I
of a
mean,
minute.
I do, like,
didn't
I
know
am
the
actually pretty precise with, like, I measure in grams and all that kind of stuff. That is very important. When I was the other day, because I do things really fast when I'm doing prep work for baking prep, and I just like, I see a recipe and I can see it once and then it's in my head. And so I was doing it in my head and I literally forgot like half of the baking soda for this 22 quart batch of vanilla batter that we were doing. And Julia was baking and she's like, hey, why are your cakes breaking? I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, oh yeah, I forgot to I did 6 teaspoons of baking soda instead of 6 tablespoons. And that is a very, very important thing to have in your recipes or like in baking. You cannot deviate from the leavening.
You can't just add it later. See?
I did. I mixed it. For some reason, I was like, because I was measuring something else out, and I was like, oh, I know what I did. And so I added the rest of the leavening. But
Curtis, did you see the video of Stash the other day where she had like 2 or 3 buttercreams going plus a sauce? Like there's like 4 pots at one time.
Yeah, and I have one stand-up mixer, and I can't remember if I put in 3 cups of flour yet or not when I'm making a bread recipe.
Okay, but my mom. Okay, I'm gonna be 30 next year, so I've been doing this for 10 years. So I would say that, you know, I've kind of, I don't know, it's just become natural to experience. But when I was like 15 or 17, I could barely even cook an egg, and my mom will 100% be like, no, I had to cut her steak for her. She could not do anything. So well, I came a long way.
There's hope for anybody out there.
That makes sense. Exactly. So that's nice for a 15-year-old, but I'm 40.
There's hope for you. Come on. Curtis, you got a chance,
still cuts Curtis's steak for him.
I can catch up. I can do this.
I, like,
I will be 75.
You have a chance. Follow your dreams, Curtis.
I'll do it.
Man. Stash, I wanted to ask you. You were talking about the beer that turned into tar or that tasted like tar. What's an ingredient that you will never use again? Like, what's something you tried and you're like, oh, or a beer, you could say it.
There's not really any. I mean, I don't really like using things like, no offense, but like any kind of light, like Budweiser, that kind of stuff. It's just that. No.
You can rinse out pans with that if you need to.
Yeah, exactly.
The carbonic acid will clean.
I also want to point out that I find it very funny that you're making cupcakes now.
Okay, stop. There is actually a lot of work that goes into cupcakes.
I know.
And I told Julia, I was like, I know.
Would not make cupcakes for anybody before. I just want to tell you. And now she's working at a predominantly cupcake place. I know you make cakes.
She was anti-cupcake for a very long time.
She was anti-cupcake.
Yeah, I am.
And it really makes me happy to eat cupcakes.
Great. I still, if I'm going to eat one, I'm honestly like, I don't like cake. I would rather eat pie. But
yeah.
I agree. Jason
what changed me was because of a lot of cupcakes at like a lot of places, which I won't name, they just use these like cloyingly sweet frostings, and they're like the cake crumb is like super dense and it's just cake and then frosting, and it just doesn't make sense. But I don't know, there's what we do at Sweet Orleans. I think it's like a good balance. Our cakes are really like, they're mostly oil based, so they're really moist, and we do a lot of fillings, so you've got just like different flavor profiles, and we do all sorts of things. Like right now we have this like banana brownie cupcake with a salted butterscotch filling, and then Swiss meringue banana buttercream mousse, and it's just like, it's crazy, and there's just different flavors, and so it's like, okay, there's more than just red velvet.
Just cupcakes, yep, red velvet.
But what's beautiful, what you did just there, I mean, you talked about things being potentially cloyingly sweet, and for me, immediately I heard the crossover with beer right away. We talk about milk stouts, sweet stouts, fruited beers sometimes are cloyingly sweet. So the verbiage is crossing over as well as the ingredients. And I think that it's a natural pairing that, just like we talked about earlier. So if you've never had a baked good or a recipe with beer or, booze in it, you might want to consider it, because there's a lot of crossover. And, I am that 1 out of 4 people in this video screen though that would rather eat cake.
He's rather eat his
I'd
cake.
rather have it like a chiffon, like a middle chiffon, lemon chiffon layer.
Okay, but that's like a light cake. It's not like a pound cake that's just
Oh, touche.
Covers.
My dad really loves German chocolate cake though, and that can be pretty dense and sweet. And so I understand what you're saying, but
I've never
no,
had German
there's a
chocolate
lot of
cake.
pies. I'm a
What?
cake guy.
Whoa.
What?
What? You've never had German chocolate?
I made a German chocolate cupcake today, but I've never had German chocolate cake because it's got coconut and it has nuts,
That's right.
and
Never mind.
I'll die.
Okay, sorry.
But it looks really good.
Everyone
Like I
was-
think
Could
I
be
Everyone's
might
worth
like,
the
like
I'm
risk,
it.
sorry.
Stosh.
Sorry.
Right.
Sorry.
Okay. We'll give
It's
it
that
to you.
moment though where like maybe
Not
we
worth
get
the
a medical crew to observe, be on standby and just we've got experience, and then immediately the ER doc kicks in and says,
Yeah.
"All right, now that you've enjoyed it, here's your EpiPen." Like it
Yeah.
may be something we need to
That's
do
not
on
a bad
air.
idea.
I think that's
not-
how we ranked the allergies. It was like, will you die or not die, Stash? It's like, no, I won't.
Yeah, it's like okay, it's fine then.
Yeah, if you're going to die, we're not
Can we talk about the baked goods you supplied for tonight a little bit though? Because
Yeah,
we've
I
been
just
enjoying
had
them.
a
Curtis and I have definitely been gnashing and not
I just
talking about
had- I
them,
just
so the
had a
audience
bite
needs to know.
Sure. Okay, so well, it was kind of last minute, so I'm sorry about the desserts. But so I gave you guys, you have peanut butter cookies, which were for fun, and they're giant. There's nothing
best,
really
no
like
doubt about
that.
Right.
What?
It's like this is
Oh,
like an
good, 'cause-
eighth of the size of the cookie.
Yeah, it's like a real.
It was giant.
It's a real peanut butter cookie. It's good.
Good, because I didn't measure the peanut butter or anything, and I kind of just I didn't remember what recipe.
I hate you so much. I hate you so much right now.
Really good. I'm glad that
It's
they
so
worked
good,
out.
and there's no format to it.
There's no anything to it.
Right.
I threw this cookie together. Hope you guys like it. Just gotta do it together.
It had some
The
stuff with
bread.
it.
Also, we actually everything that I gave you tonight was really an experiment. I'm sorry.
Once
That moment
again,
where,
we're
like,
like tasters. Once
Tripping
again,
and spill the paint bucket, and you're like, "Oh my God, that's a beautiful Jackson Pollock." Oh, well, yeah, it's because I tripped and spilled the paint on the canvas.
no, you're not supposed to say that part though. You're supposed to say, "Oh, thank you."
Oh, thank you so much. So for the bread that I gave you guys, it was a play on banana bread. Basically, I had some leftover peaches and apples that I needed to use, so I kind of like chopped them up and pureed them, and then instead of using the bananas in a banana bread, I used those instead. And there you go. And then I also had just like a bunch of strawberries and stone fruit and stuff left over. So today I like sauteed them all up real quick and actually used a light beer in that with a little bit of brown sugar and spices. And so that's the compote that I gave you guys. That would, I think it
There's a
would go
little
well with the
spice to
bread.
the bread too. Did you use ginger in the bread?
Yes. Probably nutmeg too.
Yes.
Probably. Not sure. It's not written down anywhere, but probably.
Perhaps there is some nutmeg.
I know there's cinnamon. That's a fact.
But you use Boddington. It says on my paper they use Boddington's Pub Ale.
I did.
Is that a yellow? I have not seen that stuff forever. Is that a yellow can?
Well, yeah,
Right.
it was
Yeah,
in
that's
my,
That's a classic right there.
oh, well,
Deep
see,
pool.
I was looking for some kind of booze thing to like use with the fruit because I couldn't find anything that would work well, and that was there in my pantry, so it's warm. And I
So
shook
it may be vintage, is what you're saying.
it. Right. I shook it, and it sounded like there was like a rock inside.
Yeah,
I
there's
wasn't
like a
sure,
little
so I
thing there.
opened it.
It's a widget.
Yeah.
It's a nitro
It's a
capsule.
widget. There's a widget in the.
Oh, well, it's sprayed all over my parents' kitchen. And my dad was like pointing, like, you made a mess.
You're not
We have
supposed to
ants
see
right
it.
now.
Yeah, you're not supposed to see
Yeah,
And
I
was
thought
this-
about that after I opened it.
And was that the light beer that you're referencing?
Well, I didn't taste it. I just
No.
smelled it.
But you said you use a light. You said you
Yeah.
used a light beer, so that's why I was out.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
the
yeah,
mindset.
yeah.
Hello
That's
can, Curtis. So yes, it was light.
It was only 12 ounces. Come on, I could lift it up.
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know where I got it from. I don't know.
It is
We've
a
had
very-
it for
that
a
is a very
long
light beer.
time.
that's a light beer. I mean, that's like
I thought
Well,
just
it
after
smelled
she
pretty
had just,
potent to me.
and I thought after she just said she doesn't like to use light
Yeah.
beers like Bud Light or something, that this is what she was talking about. But no, talking about
Well, this,
an English pale ale at a very, like.
well, this is all I
4%.
had at the house,
Mhm.
and I did not want to break into my brother's like vintage craft
Yeah,
beer
good
stash.
beers,
He would
yeah.
be really mad at me.
Well, speaking of vintage stash, though, going back in time, what you really became notorious for, infamous, famous, notorious at the restaurant, was the Wookie Jack cheesecake.
oh,
And so can you give the, for those of you who can't find Wookie Jack beer
Oh,
these
that's what I
days.
should
Can you
have
talk a
given
little
you
bit
today.
about
I
the
have
Jack
one in my
cheesecake?
freezer.
A
Sorry.
cheesecake?
What? Oh my
Yeah.
God. That's
That's
like
gonna
a
cost you. That's gonna cost you more
relic.
than just some vodka, Jason.
No kidding. I'm gonna have to take out a small loan to secure that Wookie Jack cheesecake.
Wait, there's one more. Okay. Wait, what is Wookie Jack called now? It's called something else, and it's different.
Ugh.
It's not even the same. The
It's like,
original.
wasn't it
Wookie Jack-
Wookus? Or
Let's
something
talk
like
about the
that?
original Wookie Jack. That was a great.
You're right. It is now
Right.
called Wookus.
Yep.
That was a black IPA, dark IPA, right?
One of my favorites.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was delicious. It was delicious. And Stosh,
That was
I would say Stosh made that beer famous. I'm sorry, Firestone.
I don't disagree with you. I think what's interesting too, I'm looking online right now. So firestonebeer.com, Wookus, right in the Google description. I don't even have to click on the website. It says, once thought to be extinct, the Wookiee family comes roaring back with its woolliest progeny yet, an Imperial Black Rye IPA.
Yeah,
Wookus.
it was right to begin with.
It was right in the beginning, but there was
Yeah.
something different about the later iteration of it. The first 22-ounce Wookie Jack was delicious.
Say, Anastasia, do you know Manny Chavez?
no, not at all.
Okay, because there's somebody in the chat saying, "Oh yeah, the beer sprayed all over the kitchen." Just so you know,
I wonder who that could be. Same last name and everything.
I don't know.
you don't. Well, it's
might-
interesting that this person has the same last name, but
Might possibly be my dad.
Wait, can you tell us about this cake? Because I remember this cheesecake. Jason, didn't it take like 2 or 3 days?
Yeah, it's a pain. It is like
But it's
It
like
took
a piece
so
of
many
art.
days.
It's worth however many days it took for you to make it, not us.
The amount of labor
Right.
involved and the
Should be
lack
$100 a
of
piece.
distinct ingredients.
It should be $100.
We undercharged that cake. We
Yes,
undercharged every slice because it probably
Well,
should have been
we
a $30 per slice.
At least $30.
No,
I was gonna say
it's-
$100 a slice, but I
Ooh.
mean,
honestly, like, okay. So what I basically did was that I made like a Wookie Jack caramel. So I did like a chocolate crust that I did on the bottom, and I made a Wookie Jack caramel sauce. And then I swirled that around in like a mascarpone cheesecake batter, and then I baked that together. And then I made a Wookie Jack chocolate mousse. So once the cheesecake was out of the oven and set, which usually like takes a day to set, then I put the mousse on top, but then I'd have to freeze it because I put a Wookie Jack ganache all over the top of it. So I would pour that
Jason,
over
can you
it.
find
And
a
then I made a
picture?
beer toffee.
I'm looking right now. I'm looking.
I'm gonna look on Instagram. Go ahead. Sorry.
I
son.
know I have it. It's on Instagram for sure. I mean, nowadays, like I can make it a lot faster than I used to. But what I really didn't like and what took me so long was because I always cut the cake, and cutting a mousse cheesecake is really not fun.
I understand.
Yeah.
And we never had enough. We always either ran out or a piece came up damaged or missing.
half eaten. Yeah.
Damaged. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would be like, Freddie, I think I just gave you a cheesecake.
I think Jason was a prime suspect. I mean, I'm just saying.
Can neither confirm nor deny that there was quality control and quality assurance involved.
I definitely took some of those home. I'm just gonna say it right now. Some of those made it. But we're just talking about the cake. When you ate the cake, though, Curtis, did you ever have it?
I haven't. No.
Oh, well, you can't have it anymore because the Wookie Jack's gone, and it's just
Well,
not-
it seems like she's.
Well, I
got
can
one in
still
her
make a
freezer.
I can make a black IPA cheesecake, which resembles it
It'll
pretty
never be the
Resemble-
same stuff.
resemble.
No, it won't be the same, but
not the same. But
It'll be a
it's
loose
essentially-
facsimile.
It's essentially 2 cakes put together, right? It's a cheesecake and a cake combined, sort of.
it's like a mousse cheesecake.
It was pretty thick.
Yeah, it was big.
It was awesome.
It was multi-layered.
Yeah.
It was.
I'm gonna find this damn thing and we're gonna repost it on our page, on our Instagram feed at happyhour.again, and on our Facebook page, Happy Hour Again. Maybe even on our website, happyhouragain.com, where you can get all our past shows. Curtis, you've been doing a great job with the Throwback Thursdays, getting the old content up. But we are gonna find this cheesecake because it's like a Yeti now. It's like a Sasquatch in the forest, where it's been cited at one time, but we can neither confirm nor deny its existence.
Right.
So all of this talk about no recipes, all of this, and everything up in your head, it seems like then you would be the perfect person to be on a reality show type cooking kind of experiment, right? I mean, it just seems like
nice
if there
job,
was
Kurt.
if there was something out there that could take people and give them the opportunity to wing it, to improv, then Anastasia would be that person, right?
Yeah, apparently.
What pray tell are you speaking of,
Yeah.
Curtis?
Well, see, and now I don't, because I don't watch it. I just know that it was that
Oh.
that you were with Guy Fieri, but I don't remember the name of the show because I don't have the cable. The cable.
Guys, grocery
All you need
games.
is
And
the internet.
if you don't have the cable, you can go onto his YouTube channel and
Yes,
watch
the
it on
YouTube.
there.
The cable.
The YouTube.
Dessert episode, season 24, episode 4.
All right. So tell us about
I
that.
have
Tell
so many
us.
24 episode 4.
I have so many questions about this game show that you're on.
Okay, hold on one sec because I have to plug my phone in. Sorry.
So while she's
Danger, Robinson. We're running out of juice.
Kitty,
while she's out there. So I'm looking in the
We might want to mute her microphone.
We don't calculate our ingredients and we don't calculate our battery percentage. Oh my gosh.
I'm looking in the chat. So I'm going to. Can I?
I just want to tell you guys, if you put the compote on top of the bread and try that together, it's really good.
Okay, so when
That
she
ish
comes,
is good, isn't it, Joby?
Good combination, the two together.
all right. So the chat room, we've got a couple of people. So Anastasia, you need to unmute your mic when you get there. Do you see how to do that? Okay. Jason or Joby, if you can.
Oh, there we go.
There it is. So so somebody says can't find your YouTube channel. By the way, can you post a link? So we'll have to put a link up for that as we're getting ready.
I think it's just Guys Grocery Games.
Okay.
YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, and you said season 24, episode 4. I found a different listing, and so please correct
I know.
me. I found season 23, episode 16.
That's
They
what
keep changing it. I don't know. It's called Desserts. And
Anastashia Chavez, Grocery Games.
Yeah. So for those of you who want to find it, what I saw, and hopefully again I'm not wrong and don't lead you to a erroneous episode, but it should be airing again on the Food Network on June 15th in the evening.
yes.
So yeah, if you check the Google, you'll be able to find it.
Oh, and this hasn't even aired yet on the TV.
It aired once already.
No, it has.
It already
Okay.
aired.
Just one time.
Yeah, it aired. No, it's aired twice.
Okay.
It's
Actually, three times.
it's on the internet already. It's already out there.
You just have to. I think you have to pay to watch the episode because you have to pay to subscribe to YouTube.
Yeah.
Everybody
And then
wants
you
to cut
get
the
it.
pie.
All right.
Yeah. So Stash, tell us about the show. First thing I want to know, because I watch
by Atlanta.
I watch these cooking reality shows. I just want to know, is the time that they give you, is that real?
Oh yeah, that was 100% real. That day was like the longest and fastest day I've ever had.
That was great. So I have a feeling that guy's name is Manny.
No, that was my brother. I just saw.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Can we go way back, Joby, Stash,
Yeah.
and Curtis? And even though you haven't had it, I just found a posting by the famous Lisa McKinnon, Ventura County fame, Ventura County Star, February 27th, 2015. 5 foodie things to do this weekend, February 27th through March 1st.
Exactly what
Number 1 on the list, eat your beer and say bon voyage. The good news, Ventura resident Anastashia Chavez has been accepted into a year-long program to study baking and pastry in Florence, Italy. The bad news for fans of her award-winning beer-infused dishes, going overseas means leaving her post as both head chef and pastry chef at Barrel House 101. Saturday will be her last day at the restaurant, named for how many craft beers are on tap. Chavez is going out with a bang. In addition to her regular eat your beer menu of desserts, think Firestone Walker Brewing Company Wookiee Jack cheesecake with a chocolate crust. Chavez plans to make a farewell batch of trifle featuring Bell's Brewery Double Cream Stout. That was 5 years ago.
Wow.
And there is a picture
old.
of the Wookiee Jack cheesecake on the site. It is in full brown, cream, white color with 2 glasses and the Barrel House menu underneath. It looks glorious.
Cool.
Glorious. I love it.
Is that glorious or just
you share that?
glorious?
You
Should I
show that?
share it? Do you want to see the Wookiee Jack in its? Let's see here. Let's do it.
We want to see that. We want to see that while Stash tells us about the longest day on the game show because I
Yeah,
want to know
I
if
mean,
this buzzer. How long did you get to do the? By the way, you can imagine Jason and I's delight when your first ingredient came up. I just want to tell you that.
pork rinds.
Yes,
Pork
aka
rinds.
chicharrones.
Yeah, honestly, so I didn't even really think about like the whole Barrel House chicharrones dessert thing
No, it was
until
just.
way.
It's just because we love chicharrones. That's all.
I know, but I didn't think about somebody. I forgot. I think it was Julia who was like, "Hey, remember like Barrel House one with the chicharrones?"
Oh, you were talking about that. I wasn't even referencing that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was talking about. Well, whatever. But yeah, pork rinds. I don't know, like your mind. The timing is. I can't really talk 100% like about details about it, but I can say that the timing like of everything was exactly what the show did. Like,
Wow.
yeah. So it was
So
it
it's
was
Fast and
literally
Furious.
yeah,
It
it
is
was literally the 30 minutes you get 30 minutes to shop, come up with what you're doing. Like you hear what you have, like what the restrictions are for what you have to bake, and then he's literally just like go, and you run around the grocery store and get back to your station and you just bake and think about what you're doing. And I don't know. It's all such a blur.
Well,
You had
Right.
some Friday night like that.
Yeah.
There's been many a Barrel House 101 Friday night that felt just the same way.
You made it
Oh,
past
yeah,
the
for sure.
you made it past the chicharrones round, the pork rinds round. That was the first round,
Yes.
right? And then the way they do the show is kind of interesting because it's only 2 rounds, right? It's
Well, it's supposed to be
like
3,
a
but
double elimination.
yeah. But we did it. We had a double elimination. I think because of baking, it just takes a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So on the
double
pork rinds
elimination.
round, one person got out, and then on the
Yeah.
second round, it was basically winner take all. Like 2 of you got eliminated or whatever.
Yeah.
Was that high stress? Is it really like? Do they hype you up like to get you all stressed out? Is it real?
No, they don't. Yeah, it's literally 100% real. Everybody's like super nice and everything. But it's just it was such an experience. It was such a like I don't even I don't have words for it.
Did you
Just
feel
like
like it
this-
helped you advance a little bit in your like either career or your view on baking though? Like, is there anything you took away that said this will give me an opportunity to grow as a baker, or was it just more about a fun experience?
I think it was a bit of both because I mean, it was definitely a fun experience. It was good, networking opportunity. A little like obviously it's on the Food Network, so I got my name out there and everything. But it definitely tests you because I made friends with the other people that I was on the show with, and they're all so talented, and they're all over. One's in Louisiana, the other one's in Texas, one's in Canada, and we all had different styles. From me just kind of more rustic, style, and then one of them was gastronomy,
Yeah.
fine dining, and we just all you have this goal to create a dish with certain restrictions, whatever they tell you, and it's like what's in your blood, like how good your technique is, how good your pastry instincts are, or whatever. And I don't know, it was definitely a test to see if I could really do it or not. And so I was proud of myself, despite where I finished, or so yeah.
That's not a spoiler alert. Don't listen too closely.
No, nothing happened. So it's already been aired 3 times, Jason. Yeah, it was.
I haven't seen it though yet, so
I haven't either, actually. I don't have the cable.
There's still hope. It was really cool to see you on TV or on the TV, and it was cool. I think you did a great job, and it was cool to see the way they do the show. I think it was cool. You had Buddy was on there too, right?
Yeah, they were everybody
Cake
was so
Boss.
nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, Cake Boss. Yeah.
Curtis still hasn't seen it, but he'll see it one day.
right. Well, it seems like a good spot for us to take a short break. We told Anastasia earlier that she wasn't going to have to stay an hour, but I believe
She did 50.
We're close to
yeah.
shy.
Woo!
I think she could.
Well, it's good talking to you guys.
Well, yeah, thanks so much for hanging out. for those of you who are looking to get your hands on some sweets that Anastasia is in the process of making, Sweet Orleans right now. Social media for you, Anastasia? Do you have public social media handles out
I
there for
have an
people to?
Instagram. It's
Okay.
at Anne-Marie, which you should probably spell it because people get it wrong when I say it. Marie is my middle name, and it's
We think you
kinda
should spell it, Stash.
Okay,
We'll
it's
write it
at
down after. We'll write it down.
okay, good. At ANMAIRI. That's my Instagram. And yeah, I post, it's mostly, just food stuff, what I do at work. And, I'm trying to start my own business out here called How to Do Confections. And, there's this whole coronavirus and everything that's kind of put a halt to that. But it's kind of given me a chance to get my name out there locally and obviously like in Ventura.
Mm-hmm.
But, just doing beer desserts and whatever people, I don't know, baking kind of gives people a comfort in this time. And so I've been really blessed for everybody who's been asking, hey, can I have some cookies? Or, I want to give this to my mom, or it's been cool. And hopefully I can make something out of that with all this
Well,
going on.
the reason we ask is because they're so great. And so that's why, just keep working, doing the things that you're doing. This new venture you're talking about, is this going to be an LA County thing, or is it coming out anywhere?
Ventura is kind
Curtis
of my
asked
I
selfishly.
live I live in Santa Cruz right now, but Ventura's kind of my heart and my home, or it's become my heart and my home. So I would hope to move it out there, but
Okay.
we'll see what happens.
That's good because Curtis is asking for a friend.
Right. Well, my wife and I have been huge fans of yours for a long, long time. And so the closer you are, then that just means the more we get to the more we get to support.
Hopefully I'm moving back out there soon. So by the summertime. So yeah.
Fabulous. Joby, Jason, and I wanted to encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and Facebook page at Happy Hour Again, and follow us on Instagram at happyhour_again. Happy Hour Again can also be found on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, and TuneIn Podcasts. If you enjoy the music we play in the breaks, you can search for our playlist on Spotify. Look for the Happy Hour Again soundtrack by Hophead Said, and you'll find a playlist with hours of drinking songs. Holy
hot mics.
Holy hot mics, Batman.
Holy hot mic. I like that. I think this for me says it all. right here. Shout out to George Alem and the Ojai Beverage Company for hooking me up with an L&B sticker today. # love my beer. Anyone else in the know realizes it has a separate meaning. And hot mics it is.
Hot mics and cold beer. That's it.
So at one point, anyway, we were talking about not going live so that we could do all of these things. But I'm looking at Jacob Bassa. I'm looking at Steve Dado. I'm looking at even Tim Kilcoyne was in with us this evening. Tom Hilton was in here saying hi to us.
Shout out to all those folks.
Like if we had not been live, then damn, like they would have missed all of this.
They would have missed all the outtakes from the hot mics.
Which leads us into our last call. Welcome back to Happy Hour again. I am Curtis.
I feel like I want to put little pieces of
Jason
paper mache on my boom that look like flames. So I'll always have a hot mic.
Like a dumpster fire. And Joby, so we're all here now.
We'd love to collaborate on a hot mic beer. What style could we make that? What would that be? Would it be like a
Count me out. I'm not sure what that means.
Hot mic. I would love to collaborate on a hot mic. IPA doesn't sound right. Hot mic IPA.
Yeah, no, not quite.
I think it needs to be a habanero or a pepper stout.
No.
Kind of like
No.
A double entendre. I like it.
I do not want any chili beer.
Well, you got the candies, the hot Mike and Ike's. You might as well rock with it.
God. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Curtis
We lost Curtis.
in his beer. No peppers in his beer.
No peppers into beer. So other than the hot mic syndrome that's happening, and I'm not sure if we can if there's a pill for that. Um, Anastasia was fantastic. What a great show.
Yeah, and these desserts have been fantastic. Thank you, Jason, for muling them back. We appreciate
No
that.
problem. I was happy to do
Absolutely.
it. I'm always up for some delicious desserts. And actually, right now, the peach apple bread that she sent is going delicious with my Barrel House 101 Jack single barrel.
Nice.
Yeah. I decided to switch from the beer, and we were so focused on hot mics that I went with a hot spirit, a little warming of the throat.
Nice. It is a little chilly
wanted to do-
tonight. It's I think it's 61 degrees. It is a little chilly. I was cold earlier.
Oh,
Cloudy and a
put
little
on your
windy.
sweaters in SoCal, my friends.
I know. You guys are both from cold weather areas, so it's really funny.
Yeah, I came out here in 2004, though, baby. My blood is definitely adapted.
You're adjusted.
And so am I. It
So
took
60
about
degrees is
6
chilly, and
months.
I'm looking. The heat from Anacapa, no, not Anacapa Island. Which one is it? Santa Cruz
Santa
Island.
Cruz. Fire right now.
Warm my
Yeah.
bones.
Yeah. It's not bad enough that we have fires on our islands too.
How does a fire start on an island
Construction
where no
site.
one occupies the island?
That's where there is actually a construction site on the island.
Yeah, it was next to a pier
It
that
always
they're
starts
building.
with the construction workers.
We love you, construction workers.
Right.
Contain your
Keep it up.
sparks.
Right.
Yeah. I guess it was right, Curtis? It was like next to the construction site, or
Yeah, evidently. So they're building a new pier at the Scorpion landing. So that's what I keep hearing, is that it was near this construction site. I don't know if I've heard that it's actually part of that, but
yeah.
But it's every article leads by saying, "Hey, it was right next to this pier that's being built." So it makes me think that there was something.
Now, is
happening.
this something that they'll just let it burn out because it's on the island, or is there any danger?
They're trying to get it. They were supposed to be 80 or 90% contained by tonight, so they're trying to keep it.
Some of the terrain, though, in all seriousness, was not. They weren't able to navigate the terrain, and so there were some areas that were going to have to burn out on its own.
Right.
Just can't. Thankfully, in all seriousness, there are no people in danger, no structures in danger.
Right?
Yeah, and the island will rejuvenate with some of that fire. So I make light of it, but those individuals who are fighting that fire and the construction crew, we do wish everyone safety, just like we would any other catastrophe or disaster here in SoCal. So, I don't mean to make light of their efforts. I just want to have a little fun with it, and the island will bounce back.
Yeah. Better than ever.
Well, they have true professionals working their equipment.
So speaking of true professionals, though, let's talk a little bit about the discrepancies between. Go ahead, Joby. Do you want to give a softer approach?
Because as you're saying that, your picture is literally getting blurry and then clear and then blurry and then clear. And in my mind, I'm picturing what you're about to talk about. So go ahead.
Yeah. So earlier today, if you watch past shows, our technician, our technical producer, Curtis, has had some difficulties, both with freezing, with audio where he sounded like the big woman in Deuce Bigelow, whereas I heard you say steak. Got me all excited. There's been like intermittent lag. I'm not blaming anything on you specifically, Curtis, but this morning I watched a broadcast in relation to the SpaceX team. They were broadcasting a press conference from the space station, mind you, like however many thousands of miles away.
Really far away.
The guy Houston would ask a question, and within seconds, the guy would respond with an answer. There was no lag. There was no shakiness, no blurriness, no distorted voices. It was if they're in the same damn room. And Curtis, we love you, but you're only 30 minutes away. What is happening? What is happening?
Well, I would, to be fair, tonight there was none of that. So we've got that going for us.
That is correct.
There weren't any gossip girls in the other room either.
There were all kinds of other difficulties, but the lag was there.
I would say number one, we don't have SpaceX technological setup or equipment. That's number one. Number two, maybe they're not in space. Maybe they're in a studio in Burbank, just like the first Apollo mission.
Oh,
I'm
you
just
mother!
saying.
Don't you go there, Joby. Don't you do that.
Maybe they're right down the street, Jason.
I think it's more likely that he's just running an Ethernet cable to it because he has enough money to be able to wrap that thing around.
They have a direct.
Could
They
you
have a
imagine
direct
an
connection. They're not even
Ethernet
on Wi-Fi.
cable from the launch pad all the way to the space station? How
Yes.
long would that thing have to be?
No, it just keeps going around the Earth as the space
No,
station
and no,
moves.
watch out! No birds ever have come in contact with the Ethernet cable.
Nope.
They
Okay.
navigate around it.
One of the best comments I saw was the two astronauts. And forgive me, I don't have their names in front of me. They sent a message. They broadcast a message yesterday. I think it was a tweet, and somebody's comment was, "Wow, they have Wi-Fi up there." And I thought, that's awesome. You have no idea how it works. I love that. Wow, they have Wi-Fi up there. It's like, no, they have a way to communicate with with Houston, I guess we call it, or with SpaceX. And
They still call it Houston.
yeah.
So,
Well, it is
Bankin
a
and
NASA. It's a NASA.
astronauts' last names Bankin and Hurley, to give them some credit and some love. You know, we haven't been up since I think was 2011. We haven't sent people into space, so you know
First
it is
time
an
private
advancement
company.
for SpaceX and for the United States. But man, I just wish we had their connectivity. God damn it!
Also, shout out to those guys for leaving Earth at this time. Not
Right.
Talk about social distancing, for Christ's
a
sake.
bad time to go. I was all right. I was watching them both in the capsule or whatever, in the part that they were in, and then also when they were going into the space station. And I don't know about you guys, but I thought about my claustrophobia, and I was like, I could not do that. I just, the thought of like being in the space station and kind of freaking out to want some fresh air, and you're like, there's no fresh air, dude. Like you're stuck.
Oh my God, I'm so with you. I made the mistake the other night in an attempt to address and like deal with my claustrophobia a little bit. I watched the movie Buried with Ryan Reynolds. It did not have the effect I was hoping for. 98% of the movie is him in a coffin buried underground.
Oh my
A
god.
snake ended up in there at one point, and that's like two of my phobias tied into one scene. Oh, couldn't do it.
I just had these thoughts of like wanting to breathe fresh air and being in the space station. I may have had a dream about it. I don't even know. It was like,
I wouldn't call that a dream, Joby.
it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. But I thought it takes a special person. It takes a certain person. I mean, you think about like a Navy or Air Force jet fighter pilot. That's a special person. An astronaut like that goes up into space in a little capsule. That takes a special person. I mean, these guys, I mean, I give them credit. This is a special person. Submarine, people that work on submarines, military, like, God bless you guys, but that is not for me.
No, if we have to evacuate to Mars, it's going to take like a lot of soul searching and maybe even a tranquilizer to get me in that path.
Well,
Yeah.
I think too that it would take them about approximately 4, maybe 5 seconds to figure out that they probably shouldn't put me into those small places anyway. I don't think I'm in any, I don't think that I'm in any danger of making it to that final cut where then I have to say,
I know.
oh, by the way, guys, I don't think I can do this.
I'm just
So,
thinking, like,
with that being said,
want to do that. You want to do
with the acknowledgement of uncomfortable situations and not sure how to navigate your next move, can we talk about something that occurred to me yesterday? I was going through my Facebook Messenger, and if you're looking at Messenger on your phone, there's actually 2 little links. One is my normal chats, which I see with you guys regularly, and we talk about the show, what have you. And then there's one that says something about waiting approval, or, you know, I don't remember exactly what the verbiage is. Basically, the message is waiting for me to confirm that someone sent it.
I found one from years back. Have you guys ever done that?
Yeah, I had on Sunday night an ex from 16 years ago reach out to me on Facebook, wanting to know how California was treating me. And I was like, wow, that means you had to like actively seek me out on Facebook. And I'm not sure if I should even answer that message.
I believe that's called, I believe we call that phishing for information. I mean, you could have responded with, California's fine. Have you seen the news? We're doing great. Doing fantastic.
Right.
Right. And we won't say what state this person may be in, but I'm just saying.
Oh, we could say the state. I don't care. I grew up in Indiana,
All right.
and I don't have to give the name of the person, but yeah, it was.
But it
So,
was Judith,
when I moved to
and she
California,
lives on.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
But I moved in 2004, and I was dating her right before I left. And a couple weeks before I made the decision to move, we had broken up because we did, mainly on her side, not to throw stones. She decided it wasn't quite the right fit. Looking back, I understand. I agree.
All we need is
Wasn't the right
initials now, and this is so,
So, but then I came at her one day and I was like, hey, just want to let you know, because it was shortly before I made the decision and the opportunity came for a job in California. But I said, hey, just want to let you know, like we were together for a while, there's a good connection, and I feel it appropriate to let you know that I'm moving, like I'm leaving the state. And so she came over for dinner the night before I drove out of town. We had a little dinner, we talked, and then she was crying as she was leaving. And her statement was, there, are you happy? Like, I'm crying that you're leaving. I'm upset. I'm like, where was this 2 weeks ago when you broke up with me? And she called me every day on the drive to California to check in on me. I appreciate that. I'm not trying to throw her under the bus. We had a great connection. It just wasn't the right fit for a long-term relationship. But I was like, why are you checking in me every single day of my drive? But yet 2 weeks ago you broke up with me. And now 16 years later, she's reaching out to me wanting to know how things are going. And I just don't know how to feel about that. I'm a little like, I'm conflicted.
Do you have any of your profile, any of your social media open? Like, or do you have to confirm everything?
Like 2-3% of my profile. Like it's pretty locked down.
Okay. Just curious, as
wow.
like my Instagram is open, but my Facebook is not. But because my personal Facebook or Instagram is artist based, so I want people to be able to find my art, essentially.
And this took an air of seriousness. Like I feel like maybe you two guys have experienced this and don't want to divulge like the intensity of an ex reaching out to you. All of a sudden you got super quiet and you're like, don't go down that road. Don't do it.
Curtis,
don't
stay away.
Answer his
Curtis,
questions.
stay away
don't
from this
Pandora's
conversation.
box.
Stay away from this conversation.
like Jason, just keep going. Just keep going.
Danger.
Hey,
danger.
Well, I'm going. My 25th anniversary is next week, so yeah, there's no exes reaching out to me.
Wow, pretty good.
It's been
Genevieve has put parental controls on Curtis's social media.
It's been a very long time, right? Nobody.
Yeah. No, I'm laughing, Jason, because that may be the way, not Messenger, but Facebook has connected a lot of people actually. And I've heard a lot of stories, myself included. It wasn't a 16-year ex, but it was like a 20-year ex. And we started talking on Facebook again, and it was like, but it wasn't like, hey, how's California? Because we both live in California. But it was kind of like, you fish for stuff. Hey, how's it going? Small talk, and then you start talking more. But yeah, I mean, my current relationship is because of talking on Facebook again. And we had a 20-year gap of not talking to her. So I don't know, Jason, you can answer it or not answer it. It's your call. I'm just telling you.
Touche. Well, without being named,
come out of it.
To her, she is married with 2 kids. They look like they have a great family. It just caught me off guard. So
whoa. You didn't say that part of the story.
Boom.
Okay, yeah. Ours was not like that. She was not married. I was not married. So listen.
No, I honestly think she's just checking in. I think it's like during this time of COVID and everybody being sequestered and thinking about lives lived. It was probably just hey, I remember that, you moved to California. I hope you're doing well. I tried to bring it out in jest a little bit. But I am happy. It looks like she's doing well with her family. So we'll leave it at that.
No, so
my past life.
But I think you're right. I think because of coronavirus, there's a lot of reaching out. There's also a lot of people searching for whatever online, for whatever that may be. Companionship, love, whatever.
Just
you know what I found comfort in today? Curtis's bread.
Awesome.
Well, I appreciate that. I was making bread, and so when Jason was dropping off all of the treats today. I'm like, here, let me carve off a chunk of this thing and send it back. We actually did muffalata tonight, so that was
Oh, nice.
yeah. And then but grilled it, so put all of the goodies on there, so then that olive oil just soaked all the way through, and then fried up on the bottom side. That was all right.
That
That worked out pretty good.
I don't know if we could top that, Curtis.
Well,
Very California of you.
it is. It is. And it seems like that's probably the best place to leave it for this evening. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think it's a great place to leave it because next week we may be coming back with our favorite local foods, beverages, and what it means to shop, eat local.
Local episode. Hashtag local.
And also for those of you who are still hanging out with us, there's a few people there in the chat room. When we close off, there's a good chance that I'm not going to turn the mics off. So we'll see. Maybe.
I'll be sure to turn mine off. You have a good time.
Read my lips.
Right. Yeah. I will stop streaming at that point at some point. Maybe tomorrow. Let this go on live video for the next 12,
It's
13
gonna be a whole
hours.
lot of editing. It's gonna be.
Oh God. All right. So thank you everyone for hanging out with us this evening. You know, our moment of seriousness when we started off this tonight's show. Take care of everyone. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. You know, look out for each other too. This is
Most definitely look out for each other. You know, these are trying times, but we're only going to get through it by coming together, talking about where we stand and what is important to us and the values we have. I will say though, Curtis, you know, if you want to join us next week with more questionable content, great guests and drinks all around, Happy Hour Again is going to be the place to be.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Happy Hour Again. We'll be back next week with more questionable content, great guests, and drinks all around.